Okay guys, it's Monday the 9th of April and I've just been triggered into a short position on the FTSE 100. So the market has been pressing lower. We've had a nice trending movement, low, high, lower low, lower high, lower low. We've then pressed back up once again and we have seen rejection coming into the market. Now, after the FTSE pressed up this morning and tested at this 7225 level, we got pretty much instant failure coming in. Now we've had a very strong move down, and really the buyers, every time they have been trying to step back in, they have been failing. So we've pressed higher, we've failed. We've then broke down below, we've tried to press higher and we have failed. We've had a little small breakdown below this zone right here. And as soon as we've seen that rejection, I was happy to look to get into some sort of continuation on what is potentially a downtrending movement. So continuation of the downward trend. We've got a little previous swing point here now. However, really, I'm expecting the market to come down toward the zone down below. Really, at least toward this 7-1 sort of 7-165 level. We'll see how we get on. If I delete this, I'm going to watch and see how we react here. But really, as I've mentioned, I am expecting that movement down now. I'm pretty happy to stay in this trade looking for that movement down. Unless we started to hold here for a good number of candles. If we did that, I would very likely then just come out of the trade. Okay, so I'm still in the trade. It's just coming down toward that previous little swing point. With this trade, it's worth going over a few different things. Now, when I'm looking for setups, usually, I'm looking for high probability setups. Now, high probability setups are ones whereby I'm looking at the overall market sentiment. I'm looking on the daily time frame, the 4-hour time frame, and I'm trying to identify the likely areas where if I get into a trade, it's going to show some sort of a reaction. Those are the types of trades that I really like to take. Those are for me, they're the high probability ones. And then for everything else, what I'm trying to do is build some sort of a story around the trade so that it makes sense. I don't just want to look for a pin bar and sell the market. I don't just want to look for maybe a bullish engulfing candle and buy the market. It's just not enough. If I'm just looking at support and resistance and I'm just looking at candlestick patterns, when people come to trading, that tends to be what they gravitate towards. Just support and resistance, candlestick patterns, and trade. Really, it's not enough. I mean, maybe some people can make it work, but through experience, I haven't seen it working. I know I certainly couldn't make it work. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for more than just the support and resistance and the signal candle. I'm looking for multiple reasons to get into a trade. So for this one, we've had the market, first of all, it's rejected at this very key level of resistance that I was looking at this morning. Now, after that, the market has been moving into what can be considered a downtrending movement. If we even just use a trend line. You could probably just strike a trend line right down there. The market has been following it really from here once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. And then we've had a nice small breakdown below this zone. We've had a nice clean pullback and we've had the rejection. Now, if I'd just seen the market, chopping sideways here all day, and then we had a little break and we had this candle here, I'd be less likely to take the trade. Because then it would just be, it's a relatively choppy market, it's broken down, it's giving me a sell signal, but is it worth the risk? Is it giving me enough? Is it telling me enough of a story, basically, to get into the trade? I'm looking for the market to sort of make it impossible for me to ignore the trade. Now, that doesn't mean that you do this and you get into every trade and they're winning trades, but by building the story, it justifies it in your mind. So if I now lose this trade, I have already gone over the reasons for the trade in my head before I even got into the market. So I'd still be happy with the position. If it was just a pin bar, it's much more likely that I would get annoyed with myself and I'd be thinking, why did you take that trade? And then I would start doing analysis after the trade saying, oh, but A, B, and C didn't make sense. You should have skipped this one, or or the way the light was coming through the window wasn't quite right, that was your warning sign, whatever. But if you make it so that you've got lots of reasons for getting in the trade, then you're basically sort of preempting the voice that tends to come into your head when you start making mistakes. So usually when you're in a trade, if it starts moving against you, I'm sure you've had the panic, I'm sure you've had the, oh, what am I doing in this trade? It's obviously not going to win. Why did I get in? By making sure that you have enough reasons before you get in the trade, it tends to quiet the voice. And even if the voice does start to come forward, you can just say to yourself, you can even write it down. You can write, yeah, but I've looked and had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many confluences. So this is a good trade, no matter if it wins or loses. And then if you do lose, it still hurts to lose. You still lose money, but you're not as, basically, you're not as pissed off because you understand that it's part of trading. So that's what I'm looking to do with my trades. I'm not just looking to trade off of support and resistance. I need other things to come into play before I'll take a trade, because if I don't, it's money on the line. And I wouldn't just walk out onto the street with, £500 and make a random bet on something. I need to be happy with what it is that I am doing. So that's exactly what I do. Now we're down testing toward this little previous swing point. I just want to see how the market reacts. As I've mentioned, if it does continue to hold here, I may just come out of the trade. But at present, I am still looking for that move down toward the area underneath, really sort of 6 to 7 points from the trade. So we'll see how we get on with this one. Okay, so the market is still holding at this level. We actually just got a spurt down there of selling pressure. What I was going to say is we are testing up at this sloping resistance line now. We've actually came up and pressed into it. So really, I want to see the move down coming this candle or the next candle. If we don't see that and the market starts to again hold at this level, then I will consider coming out of the trade either at break even or for a small loss. We'll see how we get on, but it's now lining up with everything I was looking at. The sloping resistance line, the swings, it's tested at that resistance line. So really I want to see that move down now. It looks like we're getting it. As I've mentioned, 6 to 7 points, I will come out of this trade. And what I'll do is I'll let this video run, and then I might just speed it up or whatever if it lasts for a few minutes, because hopefully we're going to pop down toward this target level. Okay, so the market is now down at that target level. I'm just watching it. I am going to close it out. Okay, so 7 points of profit on that trade. So a few things to go over quickly. First thing is change the video recording. I extended it back onto the full screen. Basically, I am redesigning the Zone Trader course. For that video, the screen ends up here. I just extended it again for the last part of this video before I start getting the conspiracy theorists coming back again, just so you can see that it is a live account. Basically, what I was looking at was how, when the market started testing here again once and twice, it had held at this level, but then everything was lining up. It was then testing that sloping resistance line, which if we are having a downward trending movement, this is where it's going to start to continue. I didn't want to see it breaking up from there. So basically, if we had started breaking up from there and closing above there, I would have just came out of the trade and took the loss. Sucked it up, took the loss, and then if it came down, just dealt with it. But it didn't. It rejected once, then we actually touched, rejected again, and down the market came. It's actually coming down a lot stronger into the zone down below, but my profit target was here. I was happy to take that and get out of the trade. What I'm going to do also is bring up the trade at the bottom so you can see it. I'll line it up with the first trade that I took this morning. Now, the reason for adding in the second trade is something else. The trade I took this morning, I made a slight mistake when I was looking at my signal candle. Really, I should have skipped the trade. But that's, again, it's just part of trading. We're all humans. Sometimes I make mistakes. Now, luckily, I'm still happy with this trade. It was a very key zone. We're broken down from this trend line. It was an area I was looking to sell from this morning. Everything lined up, just one confluence I did incorrectly. But I still got into the trade and it still worked out very nicely. So I'm happy with the trade. I'm not beating myself up. But this one, I've added it in. It's got all of the other confluences. This is really what I'm looking for. So this wasn't a key zone for me today. not only wasn't a key zone, but it didn't really line up with enough for me to say, okay, I want to buy from here or sell from here. So I let intraday price action tell me what it's doing. I let it build the story for me. And then when it built the story for me, then I was happy to get in and take the trade. Everything else I just ignored. I'm not interested in looking at the market unless it's basically screaming at me, really screaming at me, this is a good trade, come on, get off your ass, start playing around with this mouse here, let's go. That's when I'm looking to get into the trades. And it's honestly, I swear to you, it's the difference between people who are consistently profitable and people who consistently fail at trading. Okay, so let's bring that up and we can have a quick look. Okay, so both trades, there's the first trade, £384.30. There's the second one, £374.40. Math is not a strong point for me when I'm doing it quickly, so let's add them together, 374.40, so £758.70 on the day. Really good result, I'm really happy with that. It was all about letting the second trade line up perfectly, waiting for that perfect setup. If you do that as a trader, you're going to have a much easier time of it. And as I mentioned, it's one of the ways to help combat the voice that comes into your head when you are trading. Okay, guys, that is definitely everything for today now. So I hope you all have a great trading week. Hope you've all had a good trading week up until now. I'm James Orr, and thank you.